Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Easy Spanish with Ed. In this video, I want to focus on the differences between the two past tenses in Spanish, the preterite and the imperfect. First, let's have a recap of the uses of each, and then we'll do an exercise that requires you to pick which one to use. The preterite is used to talk about completed actions, single actions, actions in a chain of events, actions with a clearly defined beginning and end, and the imperfect is used for actions in the past without a definite end, actions that were repeated habitually, actions that set the stage or give background for another event in the past, time and dates in the past, age in the past, characteristics in the past, and mental or physical states in the past. So which form would you use to say this sentence in Spanish, preterite or imperfect? I washed my hair this morning is me lavé el pelo esta mañana, and here we use the preterite because you are giving a specific time frame. This morning is very specific, so you clearly indicate that the action is completed, over and done, and that's a clear use case for the preterite tense. And which tense would you use to say this sentence? ¿Son esos los amigos de los que hablabas? Here we use the imperfect. There is no clearly defined start or end time for the action. All we know is that it occurred in the past. Another hint is whenever you say was or were doing something, so was or were plus ing, that's usually a nod toward the imperfect. And so how would you say this in Spanish, and would you use the preterite or the imperfect? Estaban jugando cuando los vi. This one is going to use both the imperfect and the preterite. Remember that we use the imperfect to set the background for another event that occurs in the past. That other action or event is going to use the preterite. They were playing. That's background information. I saw them. That's a clearly completed action, an event. And how would you say this one in Spanish? And would it use the preterite or the imperfect? Me desperté, me di una ducha, me lavé los dientes y preparé el desayuno. This is all preterite because it's a chain of events, and actions in a chain of events always use the preterite. And what about this one? Hubo un accidente grave en mi calle. Here we use the preterite because an accident is an event. It's clear that it is something that happened and is over and done with, and again, that's a clear use case for the preterite. And by the way, hubo is a preterite form of the verb haber. That's a very useful verb in Spanish, and you'll use it a ton. And what about this one, preterite or imperfect? Había mucha gente observando. Here we use the imperfect because there is no specific event. There is no clearly defined time period. It's just something that occurred in the past. Oh, and by the way, había is an imperfect form of, you guessed it, the verb haber. And how would you say this one? Preterite or imperfect? Ocurrió cuando tenía 10 años. This is both. Something happened, that was an event. We're saying it's a clearly completed action, so we use the preterite. But we also have to use the imperfect form of tener because we use the imperfect to talk about age in the past. And how about this one? We were friends. Preterite or imperfect? Éramos amigos. This one is going to be imperfect because there's no specific event, no clearly defined start and end time. It's just something about the past. And how would you say this one? Do we need to use the preterite or the imperfect? Le dieron a Pablo ese cachorro cuando estaba triste. And again, here we have to use both because there was a one-time event or a single completed action, so we use the preterite form of dar to say they gave him something, but we also use the imperfect form of estar because we use the imperfect to talk about mental or physical states in the past. And finally, do we need the preterite or the imperfect to say this one? Solía llamar a mi abuela todos los domingos. Here we use the imperfect form of the verb soler, which means to used to, because we're talking about a habitual action in the past. The every Sunday is a clue that we're talking about something habitual. So, how did you do on the exercise? Let me know in the comments, and if you found this video helpful, please give it a like so that YouTube shows it to more people, and that will help the channel grow. And finally, don't forget to subscribe so that you're notified whenever I upload new lessons. See you in the next one. Ciao.